Hello, everyone, and welcome to my inaugural even, inaugural Facebook Live chat. So this video today is my first live streaming and I'm a bit nervous. Thanks for the thumbs up. So I want us to get to know each other today since it's our first time together, and I want to tell you a little bit more about the Tudor Travel Guide, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and how you can connect and follow my adventures on the road and maybe get some inspiration for your own Tudor road trips, and also to let you know a little bit about what's going to be coming up shortly. So hello, Catherine. So it's great to see some people coming on here already. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And for those of you who haven't met me before, I'm Sarah and I'm the founder of the Tudor Travel Guide, which is your visitor's companion to the houses and castles and manor of the 16th century. And also I love talking about artifacts too, so that's also part of my remit. So yeah, hello, we've got people turning up. So let's say a little bit about that. Obviously, we've got live chat going on, so do say hello. I can see Cindy is talking to me from Oregon there, and I'll just hopefully pull you in, Cindy. There you go. And we've got Jackie and we've got Catherine. So hello to you. So do make sure that you say hello to me and tell me where you are in the world. That would be amazing. Now, just forgive me and be a little bit patient with the technology here. I am still mastering things. So yeah, so do make sure you give me a like if you're coming on, or even better, give me a wow. That would be brilliant. And if you know somebody who you think might be interested in this chat, of course, remember to tag them in the comments below. That would be even better. Hi Ian, lovely to see you, and Nina, that's great that you are here. Woo! So where are we going to go next? So what I want to do is to tell you a little bit about this, and I'm going to ask you the same question actually. Here we go. Let's see if I can make this work. When did you fall in love with Tudor history? So I'm wondering if you can tell me a little bit about that in the comments while I tell you a little bit about my story, which goes back to being 11 years old, and I'll try and keep it brief. So I fell in love with the Tudors as an 11-year-old. We used to do Tudors about that stage in school. Maybe some of you also, I know some of you from the UK, maybe the similar sort of age. And I remember falling in love with this particular photograph, this particular image. I'll just go this way. and being absolutely beguiled by this young woman with the dark eyes and the slim figure and the beautiful gown. And that was it. I fell in love. And I found out about Anne Boleyn, and I was completely swept up in Anne Boleyn and was just so particularly inspired by her courage, because sometimes being fearless is something that I definitely struggle with. And I've always found her role model ever since. So yeah, read a biography of Elizabeth I in middle school. So there's somebody else, that's Merle. Yeah, so you had a similar thing. Hi, Kathy from Augusta. Great. So so I fell in love. And I read loads and loads and loads, as I'm sure you're all, you're all the same. Read loads about the Tudors. But then life took over and I went off. And actually, I don't know whether many of you know, but I'm a medic. I'm a trained doctor, and I worked in medicine for a while. But I left at some point in my late 20s, and eventually I was back in 2010 on a trip to Hever Castle. And it was a beautiful sunny day, and I was there with friends. And after I'd looked round the castle, I was having a picnic on the lawn, and my imagination started to run wild. And I started to imagine, gosh, what would it be like if you could just slip back in time and smell the Tudor world, hear their voices and see them in the flesh? And in that moment, a novel was born, and I just knew I had to write about Anne Boleyn's innocence. And I got home and I started writing, and I wrote and I wrote and I wrote, and eventually that resulted in Le Temps Viendra, a novel of Anne Boleyn, which some of you will have read. And you can let me know in the comments there if any of you have read the novel. Anyway, in terms of writing that novel, one of the things I wanted to do was to bring as much, hello Nicola, is to bring as much detail as possible into the novel. I really wanted to bring it alive for people in a really multi-sensorial way. So I did a lot of research, particularly about the places associated with Anne. I really wanted to see them in my mind's eye so I could recreate the story. And that is when I was totally swept away with Tudor Places. And about the same time, I got to know Natalie Grueninger. Now, many of you will know. Great, you've read it. Great, you've read the book twice. That's brilliant, Anna. I met Natalie Grueninger from On the Tudor Trail, and we found out we both had a love of Tudor Places. And so we started writing In the Footsteps of Anne Boleyn, which of course was my first non-fiction book, which charted the whole of Anne's life from cradle to grave through the places she knew and visited. And we loved writing that so much. And I think a lot of you guys appreciated it so much that we came back for seconds, and we wrote our second In the Footsteps books, In the Footsteps of the Six Wives of Henry VIII, which basically looks at each of those wives, the top sort of 10 most interesting places that you could visit associated with each of Henry VIII's wives. And by then I was completely lost in Tudor Places because, as some of you will have heard me say before, it's when you're able to be in a place where history unfolded. Although time separates you, the place doesn't, and you can literally touch the walls. And have any of you had that experience of going to a Tudor place or any historic place and just touching the walls and feeling the vibe? And I think it connects us to the past in a way sometimes that other things can't. So yeah, that's when I decided that's what I wanted to bring to the world. I wanted to help bring alive Tudor history by bringing alive these places that all our Tudor heroes and heroines lived in, stayed in, visited. Some of the very well known, but also some of the lesser known ones as well. And so, yep, the Tudor Travel Guide was born, and that's my mission now. My mission is to write about as many Tudor places to help people learn about, but also to help people, to help inspire people to go out and to find out the detail. Because I don't know about you, but before I started doing this, I would go to a place, I'd look around, I'd have a lovely time, I'd go home, I'd read something, and then I'd realise I'd missed something that was really important. And it was like, oh gosh, yeah, why didn't I know about? I've got to go back now. Sometimes not always so easy, particularly, of course, if you're living overseas. So so one of the things I want to do is I try to get into the detail of places. And I suppose that brings me to the different ways that you can learn about and connect with me and my Tudor adventures on the road. And again, I emphasize, yes, I am having some wonderful Tudor adventures, but I also want to share those with you so that you can plan your own trips, or if you can't make it over here, that you can let your imagination take you there, because imagination is a wonderful thing. So as far as the Tudor Travel Guide goes, of course, I have the blog, and that is where I write about most of these places, do the original research, write those up. And there's just so much to cover. I've only scratched the surface, and I just wonder if any of you actually read any of the blogs, any particular favorites that you like. I'd love to hear which ones land with you. That's really helpful from a writer's perspective. So I write about places, and of course also, as you will have seen today, if you have checked, if you go to the blog today, I've just published one of the Tudor recipe blogs. Now, once a month I publish a blog about Tudor food. And I know you guys absolutely love Tudor food, because I had so much feedback from the Field of Cloth of Gold virtual summit. Tudor clothing, Tudor food is like really, really up there. So once a month, in collaboration with Brigitte Webster from Tudor and 17th century experience. Brigitte writes a blog and we put that on the blog. And if you've seen this month's, actually we've got a video. So it's the first video blog. So if you want to do a cook along with Brigitte, now is the time. She's created 2 great Tudor bread recipes. So I really encourage you to go along and have a look at that, because once you've watched it, you'll want to get cooking. I can guarantee it. So that's another thing I do on the blog. And of course, I also have transcripts of some of the podcasts that I do and some of the videos that I do as well. Then, of course, there is the podcast, the Tudor Travel Show, with which this particular Facebook group is associated. Oh, thank you, Catherine. Absolutely love your positive attitude and sense your joy. Thank you very much. So the podcast, that is a little over a year old now, and I put that out once a month. Let me know, give me a thumbs up or a wow if you've listened to any of my podcasts. That would be really fab. And again, if you want to let me know which you have enjoyed the most, that would be great too. So I love doing the podcast, and actually the intention is that I would go out and about to Tudor places and usually interview an expert or a guide, and we'd walk and talk, and my aim is to try and bring that place to life, to bring it into your lounge, sitting room, wherever you listen to the podcast, out on a walk. Now, I've been a bit curtailed by coronavirus, I have to say, and it may be that over the next few months I have to do some more studio-based stuff, but what I really want to do and what I'm really itching to do is to get back out on the road and see and record some of these amazing places more directly and more in person. So there is the podcast that is on Podbean, and I guess what I can do is put links in the comments below if anybody is unsure of where to find that. But if you went to Podbean and typed in the Tudor Travel Show, you would find it. And then, of course, we have YouTube, and I'm doing quite a lot on YouTube now. So it's really starting to rock and roll on YouTube. I do monthly A to Z. So this is where I take a place and I feature it. So actually the latest video is going out tomorrow, and that will be on Eltham Palace. I'm working through from A to Z, so we've still got a long way to go. And I basically give a précis of the history, particularly the Tudor history of a place. So I do my A to Zs every month. When I'm allowed on the road, we again go out and try to, when I'm recording audio, I also try and record video. So we make videos from the place. And of course, also then we do some really fancy stuff. Has anybody seen the Tudor Tales video about Catherine Parr and Thomas Seymour? And that is a new series that I'm working together with Phil Downing from Tudor Tours on, and we're hoping to do 1 or 2 of those a month. They're pretty intensive, but a lot of fun to do. So that is what is going on YouTube at the moment. Now, one of the things I want to do, and you can really help me here, is I know there's a lot of people wanting to travel here to the UK from overseas, and some people are coming for the first time, and they might have lots of questions about how do you get here, how do you get around, how do things work in the UK. And so I also want to create a new travel series, which is not specifically Tudor oriented, but it will have a kind of flavour, but about travelling, really about the UK, about what to expect, about how to get around, how to book places, how to take cabs, how to, all that kind of stuff. So here's where you can help me. If you have any travel related questions that you'd love me to cover, either here on this Facebook live chat or in YouTube, then or in the YouTube series, let me know. Just leave a comment in the comments here, because I know loads of you, we're all grounded at the moment, but loads of you are planning to get your next trip underway. So do leave us a message about that. Then I have another announcement about YouTube, and it's all about going live at the moment. So I'm pushing the boundaries a bit, and I'm in addition to these weekly Facebook chats, I'm going to be starting a monthly YouTube live stream. Now, this is going to be a bit different to this Facebook chat because I'm going to have a guest, an expert who I am chatting to and interviewing. And I've got my first few lined up. Now, they're going to go live, they're going to stream, I hope, the first Saturday in the month, wherever possible. And because the first Saturday in the month is the 6th of June and it is just the day before the 500th anniversary of the Field of Cloth of Gold, I am actually inviting back Professor Glenn Richardson, who some of you will have seen kicking off the charge in the Field of Cloth of Gold Virtual Summit. But Glenn is just such a great speaker. He's so entertaining and funny and witty. I thought it would be great to invite him on. Now, this time, of course, because we are live, you get to ask him the questions. So I really hope that you will join me over on YouTube for those live chats. And come with your questions and put Glenn on the spot, because if anybody knows anything at all about the Field of Cloth of Gold, Glenn is the person to ask. So that is a date for the diary. That's Saturday, the 6th of July at 5 p.m. So on those Saturdays, I won't be doing these Facebook Lives. I'll be on YouTube and I'll be streaming with a guest interview. I also have, just FYI, Tracy Borman, who will be along in July talking about the Tower of London. I have Jeremy Ashby, who some of you will have heard on the podcast. He's the head curator English Heritage. He'll be coming along in September, because I'm going to take August off. And then I've just had Jonathan Foyle agree to come in October to talk about the Henry VII bed. So, whoa, we're going to have some great people coming along, and you're going to make it. So please turn up with loads and loads and loads and loads of questions. That would be great. So, okay, now let's have a quick look at some of the comments here. So this is Kathy Andrews. I just found you on YouTube videos and loved the very early one with Jonathan Foyle. I listen while working on my Elizabethan embroidery. Yes, because Kathy runs an embroidery blog. So yeah, welcome. Amanda loved the Field of Cloth of Gold Summit and would love to purchase the videos if possible once they are available for free. Well, that is, yes, that is probably going to be in the pipeline. So do stay tuned for that. There will be a way of making them accessible. You may or may not have noticed, I haven't really officially shouted out about this, but there is a subscription now to the Tudor Travel Guide YouTube channel, and the videos will be behind the subscription wall, but I'm also going to make them available for one-off purchase as well. So if anybody is interested, that just stay tuned. There will be more information coming about that after the videos have been taken down, which is, if you remember, on the 24th of June. Okay, so has anybody else got any other questions about the Tudor Travel Guide? I'm just going to read a couple of things here. Nicola, love the Anne of Cleves panel blog. It's amazing that you found something no one else managed to. The podcast is fab. Love the different aspects of it, talking to people while you are there. Thank you. And the Anne of Cleves panel, if you haven't seen it, probably the highlight of my history adventure so far was during the research for In the Footsteps of the Six Wives of Henry VIII, coming across a set of carved wooden panels in an old church in Old Warden in Bedfordshire. There had been loads of rumours and myth and folklore about these panels being associated with Anne of Cleves, but also other people had dismissed them, etc. Anyway, there was an amazing adventure which I went on with Jonathan Foyle, and I won't spoil it if you haven't heard the outcome. But if you go onto YouTube and search for the Anne of Cleves panels, there is a 30-minute kind of mini documentary that tells that story. So yeah, do head along there. Okay, good. Right, Kathy, you're saying I still haven't figured out to do the subscription part. Is that on YouTube? if it's on YouTube, there is or should be a little join button, which is sort of just below the main video piece, more over to the right hand side, I think. And if you click on the join button, you should get a little video come up with two options. You can either subscribe for 99p a month or $4.99. Of course, there's different things that you get at the different levels. So yeah, I hope that yes on YouTube. So yeah, look for the join button. It's, as I say, it's just underneath where the video ends and the white bit begins, more over on the right hand side. Try and click on that and see if you can find out. Otherwise, drop me an email and I'll try and navigate you through it. So for those of you, I don't know whether you, so Kathy's saying, I wonder if you have to be on a laptop. Yeah, maybe. If it's on a mobile, maybe it gets shoved down in a peculiar place. It's a good point, Kathy, and I should be looking at that. In fact, about 70% of people view all the stuff I do on a mobile. So in fact, I'm looking at doing a lot of work on optimizing the whole sites for mobile. Okay, good. So that's fantastic. So I think really all I would encourage you to do is, if you're not signed up to my newsletter, go to the Tudor Travel Guide homepage, and here we have just the address if you're unsure of the address for the blog. So on the homepage you can subscribe, you get a free digital mini guide, Your Tudor Weekend Away in Kent, which covers Hever Castle, Penshurst Place and Pashley Manor. And yeah, and then that means you are on my newsletter, and you will hear about all the developments as they come up, including, for those of you who missed it, a very special announcement in that YouTube live chat with Glenn about the Field of Cloth of Gold Virtual Summit. So I've had quite a lot of people go, no, I missed it. How can I get back on? Well, there's some exciting news coming your way if that's you. So again, make sure you're subscribed to the blog. There's the address, www.thetudortravelguide.com, or go to my YouTube channel, which is, you just go onto YouTube and search the Tudor Travel Guide and you'll find me, and make sure that you subscribe, and then you should be fully linked up and in the know about everything that is developing. So, okay, so I'm just going to read one more. Sherry Osborne, Corbel. Thank you, Sherry. Any travel information that people will not be able to get to the UK? Is this about COVID? Is this about where we are now? I don't know whether you've heard, but there's a 2-week quarantine just being imposed by the government right now, which means if you come over to the UK, you'll have to go into quarantine for 2 weeks, which is going to make things pretty difficult for people wanting to come over for the time being. But anyway, hopefully we'll get this virus under control soon and we can all start getting out and about, because I am missing, I don't know about you, but I'm missing my history fix. Okay, I think that's enough from me for today. So as I say, make sure you subscribe to the blog, subscribe to the YouTube channel. That will keep you updated, and I will be back here for next week's live chat. And just to say that in future live chats, this one's been a bit different because I just wanted to say hello and kind of give a bit of context to the Tudor Travel Guide. But I think as we go forward, what I'd really like to do is choose a topic, something maybe I've been working on or researching, or something that's come up in the group chat during the week, a question that somebody may have asked or a topic that they want covered. And maybe we can kind of dive into that a little bit. And that's mainly, I think, kind of where we're going to go. But of course, we can keep it open and flexible, and I'll continuously be listening and reading about what it is you want to hear about, what it is you want to talk about. So, okay, I think that's it for me. Thank you so much to those of you who dropped by. That's wonderful. And I look forward to catching you same time next week, 5 p.m. UK time, next Saturday. And if you've got anything you want to cover, let me know in the comments. All right, folks, it's been wonderful to speak to you. Have a lovely evening. Bye.